people think you're a hater, but people out there are saying crazy things about you and about Raw Telfor, calling you a cult leader, and everyone who follows you is a whatever.
It is a cult. We encourage people to get healthy. We encourage people to ride bikes for sustainable transport. We encourage people to be transparent and help people and share tough love. So in that aspect, it definitely is a cult.
Yeah, well, I'm proud to be a part of it. I like this cult.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I'm going to deal with two related but separate issues in this video, both pertaining to Izzy and her ex-boyfriend, Plantriotic. Plantriotic recently brought out a video condemning Izzy Davis, I guess as politely as possible, for the fact that she is now no longer vegan.
No, it's tuna! Is it safe catch? No, wild pink salmon. Nice. Sardine. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is freaking salami. What kind of, what animal is in here? What's salami made out of? Pork. See, I didn't even know. Right now? We get to eat some muffins? But they're paleo, so.
I'm making this video not to hate on either of these two women. I'm actually not going to be talking about Izzy at all. It's just, it's in the same light why I think both Izzy and Lexi, after years of being vegans and knowing about the ethical reasons, why they dropped veganism and started eating animal products again.
And the title of this video states not merely that she stopped being vegan, but that she never really was vegan. That, to me, conjures up memories of the old straight edge movement.
Izzy, just like me, has struggled with disordered eating, and she felt that it was really important in her recovery to completely take any restriction out of her lifestyle and eat animal products once in a while.
Straight edge is an ideology that has nothing to do with veganism, but a significant number of voices within veganism were involved with straight edge before they joined the vegan movement. And it's significant whenever you're looking at any political ideology, not just to examine the ideology in isolation, not just to think of a political identity as a hat that someone picked out at the department store and decided to stop wearing, but to think of it in terms of what it might be replacing, what in their mind it might be contrasted to, indeed what it might be liberating them from. A lot of the time we adopt one label, we adopt one political identity, precisely to enunciate what it is that we're not. It's an act of contradistinction. To give an example from my own life, the single most liberal Christian convert I ever met, i.e. the most liberal person I met who chose to convert to Christianity, wasn't just born in the religion, was someone who was instead born Muslim. So for her, becoming Christian was a choice to reject what was restrictive, if you like, about Islam. So even though it's the same religion, her version of Christianity, or what Christianity meant to her, was much, much different than it would be for someone who was, say, born Buddhist or born and raised atheist, and who made the decision to convert to Christianity from that position or perspective. So in the same way, we have a lot of people looking for different types of meaning within the movement, and with different expectations, what they're looking for, and what it is they want to differentiate themselves from, what it is they want to separate themselves from when they choose to identify as vegan or when they embrace some other more specific identity within the movement. So it was very strange for me to see this particular reproach against Izzy Davis, not merely that she stopped being vegan now, but she never was. My main problem with Plantriotic's approach here is that it is cowardly.
It makes me sad when my friends think that they need for their health to harm animals, but it's a free world, and I guess you can do whatever you want.
And the idea of cowardice is the segue between the two topics posed in this video, because he responded to accusations of cowardice many times in connection to Durian Rider and my struggle with Durian Rider in court.
In the past few days, some of you have called me and my girlfriend cowards for not sticking up for ourselves on behalf of the hateful and unjust comments that Durian Rider made to Izzy, my girlfriend, a few months back.
It's cowardly that in this video, Plantriotic names Izzy Davis, outs her for being an ex-vegan, but then rather than criticizing Izzy Davis, he states a disclaimer that he loves and supports whatever decision she made, and launches into a parallel critique of a different vegan YouTuber who is now ex-vegan. It's a very strange, frankly, very passive-aggressive way to lash out at your ex-girlfriend for giving up on veganism. And as stated in this video, allegedly, Izzy has somewhere on social media publicly addressed this. I Googled around. I couldn't find it anywhere. I didn't see anything on her YouTube channel that addressed the fact that she is now ex-vegan. But he states that he has license to talk about this publicly because Izzy already has disclosed it.
In the case of Izzy, by the way, the reason I don't feel bad saying any of this is Izzy put out all this information on the internet.
People looked up to Izzy Davis. And I don't think they looked up to her because she was a scantily clad blonde on YouTube. I think there were just so many scantily clad women giving diet and exercise advice that she would fade into the background if that was the only reason people had to pay attention to her channel. I think that with Izzy Davis, there was the illusion or the possibility that she was going to be a significant leader in the vegan movement in future, precisely because she was enrolled in biochemistry at University of California, Berkeley. She made videos talking about her studies, how competitive and difficult the university setting was, and I don't think it was unreasonable for people to look to that channel and expect something better, expect something more in future than what would be offered by, I don't know, the innumerable number of fitness and beauty bloggers all over the internet. Now, within the vegan movement, of course, her announcing that she's an ex-vegan instead makes it clear that what we can expect henceforth is something much, much less. Plantriotic, in his, ersatz criticism of her, I do find it very strange, because he instead criticizes this other YouTuber after disclaiming that he's not going to criticize Izzy Davis. And the question he's sort of hinting at again and again is, how can you make it out? How can you pretend that this is too difficult for you to accomplish given the other challenges in your life that you are overcoming? And, on a human face-to-face level, I have asked other people in my life that same question, including sometimes professors, coworkers, friends, relatives, or what have you. Whatever, psychological problems you may have, whatever, gastronomic problems you have, whatever practical organizational problems you may have in transitioning to a vegan diet or sustaining a vegan diet. Because in some cases it's not easy. I recognize the difficulties we found across the board. If you're capable of having your act together enough to get into University of California, Berkeley, to study for, prepare for your exams, your essays, to compete at that level, if intellectually you're at a high enough caliber, and again, I shouldn't even say intellectually, if you're just at that level of self-discipline and rigor, why would it be unsustainable for you to consistently choose to buy soy milk rather than cow milk, to buy vegan ice cream rather than non-vegan ice cream, to make the effort to eat beans, lentils, broccoli, you name it, instead of the non-vegan alternatives? And I wonder, too, is there something comforting in taking this identity away from a person, from claiming, as he does, with no justification, it just doesn't make sense to me, that the fact that you're not vegan now means that you never really were. Is there some kind of comforting illusion there that there's something essential, there's something that marks us, the vegans who remain vegan, as intrinsically, ineluctably different from the people who try it and fail? Is it comforting just to think that would never happen to me, that would never happen to someone like me? Whatever misfortune or weakness that entails is something I can't find in my own psychology, something that's wholly alien. Instead of maybe looking at the circumstances that brought us into veganism as really a sort of happy accident, and recognizing that if we'd lived our lives in a slightly different way, we might have never heard of veganism, might have heard of it 10 years later or 10 years earlier, and we might have very well had to drop out of veganism for all kinds of practical reasons. if you've been following this YouTube channel for a while, you'll know that one of my most successful videos of all time is advice on how to take the IQ test for joining the Canadian military. They have an intelligence test before you join the Canadian military, and a lot of people have been sharing the link to that video, so there's quite a few viewers now. I did sign up to join the Canadian military to fight against ISIS back when that was the war they were fighting. And if I had joined the military at that time, it would have led to my doing very non-vegan things. And I think it probably would have, at least occasionally, forced me to eat non-vegan food. You can Google around. I have. Some people manage to maintain a vegan diet some of the time when they're on active duty. Depends how active your active duty is, I suppose. All right. And now the segue to the other topic of this video. To be honest with you, it was just about an hour ago that I finally did click on and take a look at what Plantriotic had said about me and my past/ongoing conflict with Durian Rider.
I've got some comments, literally got some comments saying, "You are one of Durian Rider's victims. How could you support him?"
And now it's just the triangle is getting more and more corners. The polygon is growing. You got Durian Rider, you got Freely, you got this ISIL guy, you have the Hannah Chloe girl who's now accused Durian Rider of sexual assault himself. There's so many points of drama. There's a 99.9% chance, there's probably an 100% chance that if you think that you have a opinion on this and you've like made a comment, oh, I hate Jackson for this, I hate Izzy for this, Durian Rider's a terrible person, there's no chance that you know every single one of these people personally. You're just trusting what they're saying on the internet. You're probably not qualified. But if it turns out that Durian Rider totally made up that information and simply called this guy a sexual predator because the guy had criticized Durian Rider in a legitimate way in his videos, then Durian Rider has almost no credibility and makes up lies about other people to destroy them just because they were hating on Durian Rider. That's the biggest sign of narcissism and egocentrism ever. So, but guess what? There's only one person on the planet that knows if Durian Rider made the video claiming this guy was a sexual predator simply because he thought he was a sexual predator or because he was trying to just defame this guy. The only person that really knows that answer is Durian Rider himself. So everyone else speculating anything is just speculation. We can't know what Durian Rider's intentions were. All we can do is take it in from everyone else's videos. That's why the whole thing's a shit show and it's just us talking on the internet. But essentially my stance, which I think hopefully everyone's stance is that if Durian Rider was lying and making accusations about someone simply because he was criticizing Durian Rider, then Durian Rider has no credibility in my opinion. And if Durian Rider was doing it because he felt that this guy was a creep and he was trying to help others, then I appreciate and respect Durian Rider for that. So, I've talked to him online. Here, now I'm going to summarize this video. I think that he is a really funny, entertaining guy. I enjoy clicking on his videos. But for now, I don't know any of this information, so my opinion would be I think that he's funny, he makes me laugh, I like that he spreads the vegan message, and he's been nice to me. He has not done anything bad to me, thus I am open to continuing a relationship with this guy.
Sometimes you just like to, make shit up.
What I see as so despicable in the stance he adopted on this issue is cowardice. And it's ironic because in these same videos, what he is addressing is apparently a complaint he received from his audience that he was a coward for not standing up to Durian Rider, given that Durian Rider had insulted and defamed him, had insulted and defamed his girlfriend Izzy, and then he sat down and was flattering towards and courted fame or support from Durian Rider at the first opportunity to do so, rather than standing up for, I suppose, truth and justice.
I'm not a victim. I don't take any name calling personally, and I believe he's a good person.
It's a peculiar fact that in framing my situation with Durian Rider, Plantriotic explicitly and repeatedly states that he knows from his own direct experience that Durian Rider lies, that he lies about unbelievable things because in his own conflict with Durian Rider lied about him, Durian Rider lied about Izzy, Durian Rider made up things out of thin air and lied about things that he knew were lies because of his direct connection to the situation. He knows, he does, I think, use the word crazy many times to refer to Durian Rider, but he nevertheless comes to the cowardly conclusion that he's going to continue supporting Durian Rider and that it's somehow an open, unsolved mystery as to what extent Durian Rider was lying for his own convenience to support his own side, and to what extent Durian Rider was heroically telling the truth. Pardon me. To what extent Durian Rider was heroically telling the truth in standing up to me.
But the last thing I'll address is remember the Izol drama where, like, essentially Durian Rider accused this dude of being a sexual predator and being a weirdo, and it turns out that the guy had a ton of videos, like, criticizing Durian Rider's philosophy and claimed that he was a sexual predator. So let's just talk objectively about this issue. If Durian Rider legitimately thought that this guy was harming women and harming people in a sexual manner, and Durian Rider made a video exposing that, you should 100% be on Durian Rider's side. That's very heroic to see someone doing injustice and harming someone and then going out publicly and making a video about it. Absolutely. But if it turns out that Durian Rider totally made up that information and simply called this guy a sexual predator because the guy had criticized Durian Rider in a legitimate way in his videos, then Durian Rider has almost no credibility and makes up lies about other people to destroy them.
Sometimes you just like to, I don't know, make shit up.
Basically, I think his audience are correct that he's been cowardly. And, today I seem to have quite a convivial relationship with Vegan Foot Soldier. Foot Soldier was one of the absolute last true believers in Durian Rider. He lost his faith very, very late in the game. Another guy, the Glucose Network, his real name's Abdullah Zainab, one of the last true believers, lost his faith late in the game. And I believe just yesterday, Vegan Ava will be a distant memory for most of you. Vegan Ava, I just wrote to her today. I got a very brief reply from her. Vegan Ava finally publicly stated that she lost faith in Durian Rider. I already knew that she had 6 or 7 months ago, I think she says, because at one point the videos she made indicting me, pointing the finger at me, all disappeared from her channel. It feels like it was about a year ago, but I forget when exactly she did that. And when she did that, when I saw that she had intentionally, from her end, deleted the videos she made against me, I thought, so she also has joined the list of people who, even though they were personal friends with Durian Rider, knew him face-to-face, trusted him face-to-face, at some point they realized that everything Durian Rider was telling them under this heading was a lie, and they started to question how many of the other things he was saying were dishonest or reflected bad intentions. I met Plantriotic and Izzy Davis face-to-face in Chiang Mai that same fateful summer when Durian Rider threatened to have me killed, threatened to have people beat me up, so on and so forth, when all those things happen. And as I recall, we sort of spoke to each other for like 10 seconds, but then we were standing around in the same room together for 15 minutes. It's not very memorable. And honestly, if I found out that it wasn't them, it was just somebody else who looked like them, I'd shrug my shoulders and it wouldn't matter. But it seemed to be the two of them. It wouldn't take much bravery to do the right thing for him in these circumstances. And if he had any doubt, because he disclaims that he doesn't know which side is right, it wouldn't have taken any effort at all for him to reach out to me, send me an email, get in touch through one of 10 different forms of social media. And he could have verified, any of the facts of the situation or the other side of the story. I made a video just the other day asking a question. Why is it so hard for a country like Canada or a country like Japan to stand up and do the right thing when there are human rights abuses in Cambodia, when democracy in Cambodia is falling apart? Now, by the same token, I understand just how hard it is for a country like Canada to stand up and object when there are human rights abuses or corrupt elections in the United States of America. And that's not hypothetical. In case you've forgotten, the first time that George W. Bush, was elected, that was a corrupt election. Absolutely no international tribunal would regard that as a legitimate election. And Canada could have put the U.S. flag at half-mast. They could have closed down their embassy. They could have, in theory, stood up and walked out of the room and refused to recognize the newly elected President of the United States, because those were corrupt elections. That would have tremendous consequences for Canada. It would doubtless be very hard for Japan to stand up against China. But there's something very sad about the fact that none of these countries will take a stand, do the right thing, even when there is no risk, even when there is no cost, even when it's just a matter of standing up to Cambodia. Neither economically nor politically is there any cost or any threat to do the right thing in Cambodia, and none of these countries have any interest in doing that. So likewise, I have to say to Plantriotic and to Izzy Davis, who I then spoke to once later than that. I remember during a live stream, I remember I just asked her about the fact situation. She didn't want to answer. There's a special kind of cowardice involved when there's no risk to yourself, when it's so far past the point, when everyone has recognized the truth on this, even vegan Ava, even vegan foot soldier, even angry vegan personal friend of Durham Riders, when everyone has figured out the truth, when there's no risk and there's no cost anymore, and you are still, in your cowardly way, pointing the finger at me, when there's absolutely nothing for you to gain.
This diet is gonna be like crazy low in carbs. Like, that's true. Crazy low. Like, I think probably start around 60 grams a day and then drop it down so that I'm technically, by definition, in ketosis, which is like 20 grams of carbs a day. So low. Wow.
Yeah, because then vegetables have carbs.
Vegetables have carbs. Like, freaking everything I like has carbs. Everything I eat. And this is gonna be different. It's gonna be different.
No, it's tuna. Is it safe catch?
No, wild pink salmon.
Nice.
Wild pink salmon canned.
Sardines.
Oh my god. Okay, let's look at the nutrition facts on here.
They probably have protein, some fat.
In one can,
17 grams of protein.
17 grams of protein, 0 grams of carbs.
There you go.